Now, we begin. And indeed, greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. I come forth to abide with you in this hour and in this day and in this way, not in order to teach you, for there is nothing which can be taught that you do not already know. I come forth not as one who is above you, but as one who walks with you on the way that you have chosen. I come forth freely to communicate in this manner because I love you. And I come forth to abide with you because you are my Father's creation. You are Christ. You are that one birthed eternally since before time is. You are my brother and my sister. And when I come forth to abide with you, I know my Father. When I come forth to abide with you, I see the reflection of who I am. When I come forth to abide with you, I know that only love is real. Therefore, throughout eternity, and again since before time began, I am with you, even as you are with me. Though the journeys may seem many, in truth, there has been no journey. And you cannot journey to a reality from which you can never in truth be separated. Yes, you have heard it said that you create your own reality, but I say unto you, you can only create from your reality in the perfect freedom that the Father accorded to the Son in that moment, that mysterious moment, in which the Father chose to create that which is like unto himself, his only begotten Son or offspring. You are that one, and you have been, therefore, a creator, ceaselessly, since that timeless moment. And even now, in this hour, you have chosen to create your experience. You have chosen to take what you call the body, which is really a temporary communication device. You've chosen to place it spatially at a certain location in order to attract to yourself a unique quality of experience. You are the one, even in this moment, who freely creates the perception through which you behold and experience this moment. In reality, I cannot heal your perception. In reality, I cannot persuade you to see things differently. In reality, I cannot awaken you, but I can, in my infinite freedom, choose to love you. Here then is the great secret of consciousness. Here the great secret that so many would seek in so many magical ways. The world that you experience, the world of your experience, as with mine, is wholly uncaused by anything outside of yourself, and there is nothing outside of you. The freedom which is your existence, the unlimited freedom to create perception, to create period, that unbridled freedom, the essence and truth of all that you are, is unchanging forever. Therefore, in any moment of experience, cultivate the decision to not look for a cause outside of yourself, but merely ask, what have I chosen to see? What have I chosen to experience? And if you look with the eyes of the heart, it will not be hidden from you. And to look with the eyes of the heart requires only a simple honesty. What am I experiencing in this very moment? For this is the fruit of what I have chosen previously, what thoughts I have allowed to make a home in the mind, what perceptions I have attached a value to so that they carry with me like a filter through which I color what is entirely a neutral event, creation. All power under heaven and earth abides within you, each and every one of you equally. All power under heaven and earth through which you create your experience. Therefore, you are free at any moment to see yourself as one who is seeking God, or you are free to see yourself as one who has found God. The difference between the two is the difference between heaven and the world, between spirit and matter, if you will, between heaven and hell, between suffering and peace, between doubt and wisdom, between anxiety and a very subtle joy that never leaves. If I come forth to abide with you in this hour, it is only because I recognize you as my equal. And I come forth only, again, because I love you. And I love you because I have learned to make the choice consistently to teach only love. Once, when I walked upon your plane, your planet, as a man, I too was confronted with the very choices that you are confronted with. And though they come disguised in many ways, ultimately the choice is simple: love and fear. And as a man, temporarily, like you, identified with the perception of myself as a body-mind separate from all others, perhaps even separate from my Father, I too had to cultivate the decision to see differently, to choose what all of my teachers were telling me, what all of the scriptures that I studied were saying, that God and His creation are never separate one from another, that I was that light, that I was that creation, that I was the Christ. And a certain day arose, as it has already for many of you, and will arise for others of you. A day arose in which it suddenly occurred to me that rather than seeking magical means for closing the gap between myself and my Father, that perhaps I should do something outlandish, something so outrageous as to be almost sacrilege in every spiritual tradition in which I studied. And that one outlandish thing was to simply take God at God's word and to begin to live as though it were true that I was not separate from God. Now, you have to admit that's rather outlandish. So, I decided in that day and that hour, as I sat beneath a certain tree on a certain small hill in what you call Galilee, and as I looked out upon the last rays of a setting sun, in the depth of my mind I made a decision. I will walk no more as a seeker for God, but I will give myself over to the reality that I and my Father are one. And then I'll see what happens. It is not true that I came to this planet fully awake, popped into a womb without the help of what you call the, shall we say, normal means. It is not true that I was sitting next to my father and he said, "Look, would you mind going down?" I said, "No problem." If I did not walk this planet as a man, if I did not feel all that you have felt, if I did not perceive what you have perceived, if I did not know judgment, if I did not know fear, if I did not know sadness, if I did not know lust, if I did not know the cold of the skin, if I did not know the doubt, the longing, the desire to search and to seek, then nothing I ever did and nothing I have ever said to you, whether then, whether since then, whether now, in the many multitude of forms in which I'm seeking to communicate to your humanity, none of it means anything and has no value unless I have been where you are. Does that make sense for you? Therefore, please do me a huge favor. If you are going to insist on having a picture or some icon of me upon your altar, please put a picture of yourself next to mine. Better yet, take mine down and put yours up. And recognize that the same truth that awakened me lives within you. It waits on your welcome. You're welcome to make the decision to never again tolerate the insane thought that you could be separate from God, and bring that truth and that commitment to each moment. Remember that truth and then live from that truth and see what your Father would have you do. It's really not too complicated. What you will discover after you hear the message a few thousand times is, teach only love. Same message, many forms, same content. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Father, what should I do in this moment? Teach only love, for that is what you are. Should I go here or there? Listen to love, let love guide you. Be you therefore the presence of the truth that you are, and you are the light that lights this world. And you cannot help but be in the right place at the right moment. And if you would know your Father's will, open your eyes. Who are you with? Where are you? How can you bring love to the spaciousness and the sacredness of this holy encounter? And rest assured, whenever you meet anyone on this plane, in fact, we'll go a little further now and say, in any moment of relationship, whether it be with a blade of grass or as you gaze upon a star, every moment of relationship is a holy encounter. For your Father creates only that which reflects the good, the holy, and the beautiful. And through you, creation waits to be blessed, waits to be redeemed, waits to be saved, as you choose to perceive through only the eyes of love. And the decision to do so must necessarily correct the depth of the mind, heal the emotions, and yes, while the body lasts, even transform the way these tiny little cells that you call the body have been responding to you like a good servant. Love heals all things. Love embraces all things, trusts all things, transcends all things, transforms all things, and returns reality gently to where it has never left, the depth of your own being. Well, that's enough of all of that love stuff. I, too, as a man, used to cry out to my father, but Father, it can't be that simple. I had this struggle with this person I know. They are what you would call this day and age pushing the buttons. What we call vexing the soul. And if only they would stop vexing, my soul would be just fine. Surely the cause is outside of myself. Surely there must be some magical means whereby I can protect myself from the psychic onslaught of those poor, unenlightened sinners who don't get it. Teach me the way, Father. And yes, I journeyed to a desert for 40 days and 40 nights. Actually, it was about 37 days and nights, but give or take a few. Struggling with what? Struggling only with an incorrect perception of who I am and where I am always. And as I began to live from that simple decision to accept my Father at His word, the events of my life began to be organized, not by me, but by the one that I have called the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. The voice for a perfect right-mindedness, a perfect sanity, the bridge between my personal consciousness and the mind of God. Just as your life begins to be reorganized, and many of you know what that sometimes feels like, as something beyond yourself, as you have known it, begins to reshape your destiny. And thank God, for if you follow your own, you'll walk off the edge of the universe and disappear into an abyss. But that which the Comforter is begins to organize the relationships, the meetings, the chance encounters, the books, the careers, the friends. And that which has been placed within you is slowly birthed right up through the soil of everything you had mistakenly created, which had been unlike love, which had been an attempt to keep yourself safe, which had been an attempt to hold on to a judgment, which had been an attempt to view creation other than the way it is, to see not the real world, but your replacement, your substitute for it. Right through that very soil, the Comforter begins to work within your mind and your heart to correct your perceptions, to bring exactly that perfect learning situation in which you can choose again for love, And each time you make that simple choice to listen only to that voice, you take what, if we might borrow words from your contemporary world, you take what is called a quantum jump, a quantum leap in the process of healing, in the process of birthing Christ. Each decision for love is more precious than all the gold and silver this planet could ever produce. It is worth more than all the adulation, all the successful careers, all the girlfriends and boyfriends that you could possibly ever amass. Each decision for love outweighs everything that has ever been birthed upon this plane. That's how powerful you are. That's the power that waits within you and waits upon your welcome. In this moment, though the body is shaking, in this moment, though the tears are flowing, in this moment, though I'm noticing fear of loss come up, I'm going to choose love anyway. And I will love the tears, and I'll love the shaking, and I'll love the fear, and I'll love the one before me, and I'll love the blade of grass upon which I may be standing, and I will love the lover of God within me that wants only to awaken. Love. It is the only power that exists in creation. And you, right where you are that one who can make the simple decision to bring love into your environment. You can be the channel, you can be the cup that overflows. You are the one that can make the simple decision to allow healing to occur. You are the one who walks upon this planet. You are the one that has what you call a body, which means you have a temporary device that everybody else on the planet can see. They often cannot see me because they look with the eyes of the physical body and not the eyes of the awakened heart. You are the one through whom love, given as the comforter, can guide your words, your gestures, your very being, so that love comes into this world and can touch the heart of another in ways that your thinking mind could never possibly understand or comprehend. For the mind was never designed to be your master. It was designed to be the servant of the awakened heart. And by heart here, I simply mean the depth of the mind that is deeper than conscious viewing, so to speak, deeper than your ideas and your perceptions. It is like the ocean from which all of the waves arise. I simply call it the heart to differentiate it from what you call the intellect or the thinking mind. That mind never knows what anyone needs. And when you are in silence, which simply means to withdraw your valuation of those ideas, when you choose to withdraw into the sanctuary of your heart, into the depth of your mind with a capital M, and remember the truth that is true always, that only love heals, then you can be inspired, and that mind can become a servant of the extension of love. And in that moment, there is literally no difference between you and the lifetime I lived that has gotten so much press. You are Christ incarnate. You are the Word made flesh. You are the only begotten of the Father. You are the Redeemer. Because you've chosen to be redeemed by choosing love. When you choose love over fear, it does not mean that you will not experience fear as a movement or wave of energy, just like a ripple on a lake caused by a pebble that was dropped into your consciousness. When you choose love over fear, it simply means that no matter what is going on within you or around you, you've chosen to value only the voice for love. And you begin to cultivate the ability to discern the voice for love amidst the roar and din of the world, which is the expression of fear. The world can exist within your mind, within your emotions, within the cellular structures of what looks like a solid mass called a body. The world can exist what seems to be around that body in other minds. But the world is always the symbol of the choice for fear. And in the midst of all of that, you can indeed cultivate the skill, the ability to hear ever more clearly the voice for love. And it begins by deciding to make the decision to hear it. Imagine that you are at what is called the symphony. And as you sit in your chair, surrounded by hundreds of other beings in what are called the tuxedos and the gowns, you make a decision in the depth of your being to hear the note of the flute. And you begin to learn how to temporarily set aside the sound of the violin, the beating of the drum, the sound of what is called the oboe. You begin to cultivate the ability to discern the note of a solitary flute playing beautifully in the midst of the music of the orchestration of that symphony. That is very much like all that you need do to cultivate the ability to hear the voice for love. But it does require a commitment. It does require that as you go through your day, though no one may know what you're doing, you are using time differently. You're choosing to use it constructively, and there is no greater use of time than to cultivate the ability to hear only the voice for love, to act only from its inspiration, to give up the voice of the world, whether it seems to be coming from around you or from within you. And actually, those are just terms that we have to use for your experience. There is no inner and outer. There is nothing outside of you. This means that when a brother or sister seems to be acting insanely, it is occurring within you. And you have the power to look upon that one and see them as yourself. To even transcend the perception of them as a brother or a sister, for that is still a language that is based on a perception that there's something outside of you. You can learn to look and see only yourself and make the decision whether you would bring love to yourself or fear. For as you treat your brother, you have treated yourself. And as you have looked upon your sister, you have looked upon yourself. And in fact, the reason you're seeing your brother or sister in a certain, shall we say, unloving light is because you have already first looked upon yourself in that manner. And you're merely experiencing the effect of that choice. Now I know that means that if you want to cultivate Christ consciousness, you're going to have to completely give up all hope of ever finding anyone or anything to blame. But I put so much time and energy into it. I've been looking everywhere, high and low, for lifetimes. And sometimes I'm quite convinced I truly did find someone or something to blame. And yet, beloved friends, consciousness is such a delightful game. Each time that you have withdrawn love from another for any reason, you have hurt only yourself. And you have ensured that you will sense a lack of love. Forgiveness releases the world from the perception that you have placed upon it. You cannot forgive the world for what it's really done, because it has done nothing. You cannot forgive your brother or sister for their act against you, for you can experience nothing that you have not called to yourself as a result of the judgment with which you have already held yourself. So the world would teach you that what you experience comes from outside. Something called accidents can occur. The world would teach you that you can be a victim of the world. The world will also teach you, don't worry, you're not to blame. And actually that's quite true, but from a different level. The world then, and everything the world teaches, is diametrically opposed to the truth of the kingdom. And where on earth is the kingdom? It's right here. It's wherever you are. And the truth, which is the kingdom, knows that nothing is outside, that consciousness is the creator, and that therefore in any moment, whether you are hearing the beautiful laughter of a newborn child, whether you feel the tiny feet of one that comes soon, touching and kicking the sides of the internal area of the woman's body, or whether or not it's what you call April 15th and you're watching your money go out in the mailbox, nothing has come into the field of your experience except that you have allowed it. Now that doesn't mean, and listen carefully, it doesn't mean that you sat down and made a blueprint and said that on April 19th, 1994, someone's going to run over my cat. That's not what that means. The event of someone running over the cat is a symbol. It is an expression of a certain vibrational quality of consciousness. You have already dropped a pebble in the pond of your own mind that resonates, sends out a ripple, so that what you've dropped in here shows up out here as a reflection, not to punish you. God is not someone who drops you on the planet, makes you suffer, and then when you die tells you why he did this to you. Wouldn't it be nice? Then you'd have somebody to blame. all events occur for one reason and only one reason, not to punish you, not to make what you call distress occur in the body, not to prove that the world is an evil place. Events occur in order to shock you, if necessary, into turning your attention toward the real world, toward the kingdom, to force you, if necessary, to learn to think differently, to learn to choose differently, to place value on different goals. Ultimately, the goal to awaken, the goal to heal. The events that occur in themselves have no effect on you. None whatsoever. Trust me, if they did, you would not be here now. You would have disappeared 45,000 years ago. But here you are. And the world has not been able to kill you, has it? Just as it failed once to get rid of me. The event, no matter what it is that you are experiencing, is the result, the outcome of how you have been choosing to think of yourself previously, and shows up to reflect to you what's really been going on, so that you have an opportunity to choose anew, and thereby learn what love is, how love heals, what experience is, what creation is, and what power dwells within you to co-create with God the good, the holy, and the beautiful. And that power is unlimited forever. Therefore, look not with judgment upon the experience you're having. If you notice the mind say, I feel so trapped, I feel so imprisoned, oh, if I just didn't have this dumb body. No. That's a judgment. And judgment only creates a certain vibration that must show up to reflect to you what you've been doing with the power of your mind. But learn to look lovingly. Learn to look with sacredness upon each and every moment. Learn to look that even with this thing you call the body, you can have a holy encounter. You can look upon the body in a mirror. You can look at your face in the mirror. You can touch what are called the hands of the body. You can touch the shoulders and the arms. You can touch the area of the heart. And you can realize that right here and right now, wherever you are the consciousness that can love this temporary creation. You can appreciate the incredible device it is through which you can call to yourself experiences in this certain domain of frequencies, all for the opportunity to choose differently than you did in the past, to choose love, to teach only love, to become so arrogant and outlandish that you make the same decision I did. I think I'll walk around as though what my father says to me is true. And when someone asks you what your birthday is, you can say, well, it's December 25th. When is yours? Actually, I was born in what you call August, but never mind. Now, you have literally the power to have a whole lot of fun with birthing Christ. The ego, which is the insane thought that you could be other than what God created you to be, has one chief characteristic: seriousness. Rest assured, any time that you are praying with great seriousness, you're not praying. And loving seriously is a contradiction in terms. So what would it be like if you made the decision to leave this place this evening having decided to play your way into the kingdom? To play your way into the kingdom. To be light, to laugh, to be outrageous, to have fun, to tweak the minds of others. Imagine walking into one of your stores and giving them the $5 bill for the gallon of milk and whatever else you've bought, and they give you a penny back because that's the way it goes these days. And you take the penny and you look at the clerk, you put your finger in your little cheek, go, what a good Christ am I. And walk away. And then you come back in and say, and by the way, what a good Christ are you? Rest assured, that clerk will never forget you. And I want to share something that is very, very sacred and very true. It is not serious, however, though it is sincere. And listen carefully. Whenever two minds have chosen to join in love, never will those two minds ever be separate one from another again. That is, the dream of separation will never drop a veil between them. And Christ longs to be joined with itself, showing up as every being. Therefore, when you choose, and please listen carefully, when you choose to begin to teach only love as the arisen Christ, doesn't mean you get an operation manual that tells you what to do, by the way. It just means you begin by deciding that that's what's true. And then the Holy Spirit fills in the gaps. When you've made that decision to look upon the clerk in the store, or your spouse, or your child, or a friend, or someone who just suddenly, mysteriously pops into your mind in your prayer, when you decide to look with love upon that one and allow yourself to see that Christ dwells in them, you are linked to that being eternally. And as you awaken, students are sent to you. And each of you has a multitude of beings waiting in the waiting room for you to decide to get on with who you really are. Most of them you haven't met yet, and the majority of them you will never meet in physical form. But because all minds are joined, and what is mind but a point of divine light, a point of consciousness, a point of intelligence? Doesn't matter what dimension they're in. Everything exists in a space which is no greater than the head of a pin anyway. And in fact, it exists in a space which is the measurement of the width of a thought. And if you can figure out what that is, please let me know. It means that even within this dream that occurred with the thinking of one insane idea, you are linked in relationship with all beings. And as you choose to heal, every decision to heal, every decision to extend only love, uplifts the whole of creation. And as Christ is rebirthed in your remembrance, because it's already there. All of those beings with whom you've ever extended or exchanged love immediately get it. And they start showing up in the most outlandish ways. Many of you know what I'm talking about. Suddenly you meet someone and you know you've known them forever. And there is an immediate teaching-learning relationship that is established, and you didn't have to do a thing. Didn't have to hire an advertising promotional person to get you known. They show up. Every time you make a decision for love and thereby allow the memory of Christ to come more and more into your mind, into your consciousness, into your beingness, you send a message to everyone waiting in the waiting room that has a connection with you, and they know class is starting. And as they awaken because you are awakening, those that have been assigned to them in those waiting rooms, so to speak, begin to get the message. And then the bottom line is there's a huge network of relationship that exists within a temporary dream that never occurred, that's happening in a space no greater than the width of a thought, in which the Holy Son of God is remembering and awakening. And here we are. I am part of that. I am not outside of it. As I chose to awaken, those assigned to me began to show up. I didn't run an ad in the paper that said, looking for disciples. Long hours, bad pay. Must be able to handle projection. They just showed up, and while I was in the body, I was guided, just as you have often been guided. Turn left. Why am I doing that? And you end up having a chance encounter of the fourth kind. The connection of the heart, and of holiness, and of healing, and of sacredness, and of divinity, and of Christ. And love touches love, and love is remembered. You've all had those moments. And when I chose to allow circumstances to shape an event known as the crucifixion as my final learning lesson, that I held the power within myself to teach only love no matter what the circumstances are, and dissolved even the need or valuation for this kind of particular learning device, I became freed to reach across time and space, if you will, to begin to extend and teach only love to many beings. And many of you here in this hour have known what you call incarnations. In which you became aware of me. It's one good thing what you call Christianity did. At least it gave me an avenue to get to know you. I didn't create it, but I can use it. Many of you, and you know in your heart that you know perfectly well this one who was known as Joshua ben Joseph, translated as Jesus. Many of you know that you have known me somewhere in an ancient past. Many of you have very clear remembrances. Many of you simply feel a vibration that suddenly went wham in your heart, and you knew you were supposed to be here. You answered the call. For my intention as a brother and as a friend one who has chosen to assume responsibility for the atonement, is to call my friends to myself, to send out the invitation, to find the ways to reawaken the connection and the resonance that transcends all boundaries between my heart and those that I love, and those whom my Father has sent unto me. Not that I can save them, but that I can love them and give them my strength until theirs is as certain as mine. And that's when the dance begins. That's when the dance of joyous co-creation between friends occurs, between you and me, you who seems temporarily and for a very short non-time to have a body, this tremendous communication device, through which, in space and time, you get to be the embodiment of love to the degree that you want to. And nobody can tell you you can't. Between you and me, who seems not to have a body, but is closer to you than your own breath, who knows you, who loves you, who longs to dance and play with you in the extension of the good, the holy, and the beautiful, that which sends a signal out into the world and begins to touch other minds and hearts. It can be as simple as telling someone you love them. It could be creating what you call a group of people to study a course in miracles, which is really just a course in oneself. It seems to be different. Well, there's a book. We're studying this, of course. Of course, those of you that study it know the more you study it, the closer to this you get. And you realize you've really just been studying yourself. And you are the book. It could be so outrageous that you allow the mind of God to drop like tiny seeds, grand visions for a healed planet. In truth, there is no difference between the tiny, quiet, unnoticed act of telling someone that you love them and you see Christ in them, and the grandest of visions that the Holy Spirit has ever dropped into any mind. Love is always equal, and each expression of it holds an equal value. The tiniest extension of love moves mountains because it heals fear. Never let that little chattering monkey called the ego say, but you're not doing enough, but you're not doing enough, but you're not doing enough, but you're not doing enough. Broken record, broken record, broken record. It is enough to love. It is enough now in this moment to take the hand of the one sitting next to you and hold the thought, I sit next to Christ and I love them. That's enough. Because love heals. Love. Precious love. Precious love heals all worlds. And if you ever stand alone or sit alone beneath a tree on an early morning in which the first rays of light are beginning to caress this precious earth of yours, in which mystery, untold mystery, is all around you. You could never figure out how it got there. If you ever sit quietly where no one knows you're there, and the heart opens, and you think a loving thought of someone you've known, and you take the time, that one moment, and use it constructively to bless that being Inasmuch as you have done it unto them, you have done it unto the whole of creation as deeply and as powerfully as anything that I ever did. And more than that, you've done it as powerfully as a lot of things that were ascribed to me that I never did. If you receive nothing else in our time together this evening, please receive this. There is no such thing as a small act of love. To hold a newborn child in your arms and set aside the perception of yourself and them as being two separate beings, as you hold that child and decide that Christ is in your arms and that therefore you're in perfect communication, to hold one quiet thought, beloved child, it's okay now to remember who you are. There will no longer be persecution and crucifixion in the world as Christ is birthed. That tiny little act is the greatest act that can ever occur. You have remembered love. You have reclined in the truth of who you are. You have recognized it in the one in front of you, and you have blessed the world through your loving communication. And no greater love hath anyone than that one that lays down their life for a friend. Now I know perfectly well that that's made a few people shudder because they thought that meant they had to die. Think about it. Your life is your egoic state of being. The thing you think you possess. That is separate and different from everything else, the thing you've got to keep going no matter what. When you lay that life down, your reality abides where once there was an insane thought. Christ lives. You have laid down your life for a friend, and a friend is one who looks upon another and chooses to see only Christ and commits themselves to holding that perception of them until they can hold it for themselves. That is what a friend is. So no greater love hath anybody than those who would lay down their life for a friend. Does that make sense for you? So, when next your UPS driver comes with the package to your door, look him in the eye and say, I'm going to lay down my life for you today. Have a nice day. Thank you for the package. And in that moment, you've become eternally linked to that being. They might show up in your dreams, in your prayer and meditation. You will be linked to them in what you call forever, until that being also chooses to awaken and allows their experience to be reshaped by the one sent of the Father who knows exactly what you need, as learning lessons that come and go. They're all temporary, so that you can discover the power of choosing only the voice for love. And as you grow in Christ, you will outshine the body. You will outshine this entire dimension, and you will feel that you are bigger than this whole, what you call your physical universe. Because your love, the remembrance of that love, will need that much space. As you awaken to the discovery that there is nothing outside of you, you will know why I could make a decision to accept responsibility for the atonement. What other choice would I have once I recognized that there was nothing outside of me, and that all power under heaven and earth was available for me to teach only love, to find ways to create communication devices that bring the universal curriculum of reality to each and every temporarily fragmented aspect of myself. What I do through this, my beloved brother, through all of you, what I've done through what you call A Course in Miracles and many other teaching devices is, you see, quite selfish of me. I want me, who is you, to be awake. So let no one tell you that I sacrifice, for in love there is no sacrifice. Please do not look upon me as some great Savior who, boy, Christ, amazing love He has, that He would just devote Himself ceaselessly to helping poor little me. Please understand, I'm just helping myself. Because you are myself. You are myself. And as I am one with you, you are one with me. And I'm not about to go anywhere until you remember that you are Christ and that only love is real. There will be a day and an hour in which the atonement is completed, even on earth as it is in heaven, so to speak. And in that moment, temporarily, everything will be transformed. And no one will walk upon this planet with a single fearful thought. And no mind upon this plane will entertain the thought that it is separate from another. And Christ will gaze upon only Christ. And then the purpose of this world will have been translated, transformed, and completed. And the oceans, and the land, the trees, and the flowers that have come as angels to remind you of the truth, the sparkling rays of light that create what you call the crimson sunset, all of these angels will disappear. The world will disappear just like it once began, as the result of a thought, the outcome of a perception. And when only the real world is chosen as a perception in all minds, this world will cease to be, but creation will go on eternally. For the Father does not create that which ends. Do not think that in that day and hour you're going to disappear into an amorphous blob of consciousness. For here is the great delight of God. To create that which is like unto herself. I hope that's okay. And you are that one. Never think that individuation means separation, but imagine existence as consciousness in which you have a sense of your individuation with no trace or sense of separation from anything. No brother or sister. Relationship is the means of your salvation, and the final step of your salvation is ongoing celebration and extension of the good, the holy, and the beautiful. So please do not pray to be dissolved in light. You already are light. Pray only that you will release any obstruction to extending light. And you might want to add that you'd like to have fun doing it. Please remember that your Creator is the simplest of beings. Your Creator says yes to everything. Every thought you hold receives an automatic, yes, it's okay. Have a nice time. And please again remember that you will not leave this plane and do what is called death, only to sit in the lap of God and have Him explain for you why He did all these terrible things to you. He'll merely welcome you home and say, yes, yes, I love you. What would you like to do today? And as you lay there, you might say, I think I'll create another universe and go get lost again. Now, please, I know that all that I've shared with you so far in this hour is not quite what the world has taught you that I taught. Not quite. But I can only teach you what you already know. And there is no one in this room who has not experienced in this hour hearing words which are merely symbols of symbols pointing at reality, and had at least once in this hour felt a uh-huh. Now, if you recognize the truth, the content within the form of the words that have been chosen carefully in this hour, and have recognized the truth of that content somewhere deep within your being, it can only be because the truth is already inside of you. Truth can only be recognized by truth. Love can only be known by love. As you have your saying in the world, it takes one to know one. And so we would complete this short message, and then we'll continue on with this simple thought. Whatever the means or mechanism through which you believe you have come to discover me, whether through what is called the Bible, whether through A Course in Miracles or any number of the other forms of the universal curriculum, whether you have come to know me as I've appeared to you in your dreams, as I have caused energy, a little what you call zapping in the heart to get your attention, through whatever means you have come into relationship with me as my equal and as my brother or sister, please remember that if you see a trace of the love and reality of Christ in me, it is only because you have looked through the eyes of Christ at me. It does take the one to know the one. And this is true for anyone in relationship with me. Whether they be what you call a pauper in South America, holding the rosary, who thinks on me and knows that Christ dwells in fullness within me. That one is seeing through the eyes of Christ. They may not quite know that yet, but they will. You are the one who sees Christ in another. That takes unlimited power and perfect freedom to see with the eyes of reality and not with the eyes of the world. And the one being that many of you have failed to appreciate the deepest is yourself. Self-love is absolutely essential if you would heal and awaken every obstacle or trace of anything unlike love. You cannot love your brother while hating yourself. But by loving yourself, your cup overflows. Therefore, as you would embrace another, include yourself in the circle. As you would give service unto another, include yourself as one worthy of being served by your love. As you would teach another, teach first yourself. As you would long to heal another, long equally that you be healed. For the only thing a teacher of God, and that is what you are, you didn't even know you signed up. The only thing as a teacher of God that you need to do is to accept the atonement for yourself. I am that light. I am that truth. I am that one. I love that which I am, for I am my Father's creation, and my Father creates only the good, the holy, and the beautiful. How deeply are you willing to cultivate the ability to receive that truth? For the depth will determine the fruit which springs forth thereof. I love you. Your mother loves you. Your father loves you. And everyone to whom you've given a smile loves you. And everyone who has come to you in your relationships and you've looked past their mistakes loves you. You have been their Redeemer. Isn't it about time you extended the same courtesy to yourself? So, with that, I want to suggest that you, it's an interesting word, your language is so peculiar. I'm going to take a break. I don't understand this. Where will you get it to take it from? And when you break it, what will you do with it? Strange language. But it is a reflection, is it not, of how insane the world has gotten. So we make do with what we have. Take what you call a break. But as you do so, as you begin to raise the body from the chairs, if you do so in love, you've just raised the dead. Notice as you, another good word, mill about, notice whether you have a tendency to avoid eye contact with another, whether the body gets a little tense. Decide otherwise and let the eyes linger for at least a moment or two. Let yourself relax and deliberately choose to see Christ in front of you and see how you feel. And enjoy it. When we return, if you wish to return, we will spend some time with what you call the questions and answers so that we can all entertain ourselves. That's when we pretend that you don't know the answers. And we will come back and abide together. It is a great joy to communicate with you in this way. When I left this plane, I did not leave with a hatred of the body or the earth, only with the transcendence of the world. Therefore, this medium of communication with you is delightful for me as well. And I cherish the opportunity to be with you, for you are my love. Therefore, enjoy your break, and we will come back together. I suppose when something is broken, it's good to put it back together. So.